Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining my video. I hope all of you in a good condition. I would like to thank the first supervisor, Mr. Acep Haryudin M.Pd, and the second supervisor, Mr. Arham Mauriyat, S.Ikom TESOL, who has given guidance, advice, and support to the writer in finishing this research paper. So, before we go in the next slide, let me introduce myself. My name is Diva Nurghinawati with ID numbers 18220366 from English Education Study Program in IKIP Siliwangi. This research paper entitled Developing Narrative Text Material in Writing Skills using Canva application for 10th grade of Vocational High School. Okay, on this occasion, I will mention the outline in this presentation. There are background of the research, objective of the research, research methodology, result of the research, and conclusion. Okay, this slide tells about the background of the research. Writing is an activity or a work writing books, poems, stories, and so on according to Perel 2008. So, writing is an important way to convey complex ideas and information clearly. And the next is narrative text. Narrative text is a text that connects a series of logical and chronologically related events, caused or experienced by a factor according to Rebecca 2010. It can be concluded the narrative text is a text tells about something fictitious or factual in the past is only in the form of an essay by the author. Narrative texts are closely related to everyday life, where most people make essays according to what they think. And the last is Canva. Canva is a visual media website that can be used as an interesting learning media and can be accessed easily anywhere and anytime, according to Smolino et al. 2015. Canva can be used for a variety of purposes, such as to make abstract ideas concrete, to motivate students, to give direct attention, to repeat information, recalling previous knowledge, and reduce lazy efforts to learn. So using Canva can create a positive learning environment. The problem the researcher found in the field was the lack of understanding of students in the learning process and the lack of students' ability to write in English. The learning media in the schools still depends on the LKS. The content of the LKS, usually the explanation are incomplete, and the picture example incomplete, and the color is still black and white, so that the material looks very monotonous and students are lazy to learn it. The second problem is the lack of students' writing skills, because many students still have a difficulty in writing, and the resulting product is a slide. Slides that are made as attractive as possible using the Canva application, because most students are more interested in effective and not boring learning process. Because Canva has a variety design templates that can be used and are certainly interesting for the learning process. And based on syllabus, narrative text materials is basic competencies point 3.8 and 4.8. The narrative text is one of the genre texts that students should be master in the 10th grade of Vocational High School. Okay, the next slide is objectives of the research. The first one is to know the process and the result of developing narrative text material in writing skills using Canva application for 10th grade of Vocational High School. The second one is to know the feasibility of narrative text material in writing skills using Canva application for 10th grade students based on expert. And third one is teacher and student respond toward the material narrative text in writing skills using Canva application. And the last one is obstacle that found when developing narrative text material in writing skills using Canva application. Okay, in this slide, explain about the research methodology. In this research methodology, there are research method, use, research and development or R&D. According to Burke and Gold, in Setiosari 2010, explained that R&D is a process to develop, validate a product so that the product is suitable for use or not. And the research design use a model adapted from Sugiono 2013. There were 10 steps in this model, but the researcher only took 8 steps. And the next is subject of the research. The subject of the research were the 42 students in 10th grade of Vocational High School in Cimahi, 1 teacher in that school, and 2 English experts. Okay, the next is data collection. Data collection was through by fields note. Fields note used to answer the RK or research question 1 and 4 about the process and the result and the obstacle to develop a product. Okay, the next is validation. Validation used to answer research question number 2 about the feasibility of the product. And the questionnaire used to answer research question number 3 to know the teacher and student responses about the product. And the next is data analysis technique. The data analysis technique uses a Likert scale to calculate the score. Next slide, the steps of R&D according to Sugiono 2013. There are identify potential and problems, data collection, product design, expert validation, revision product, small-scale trials, revision 2, and large-scale trials. Okay, in this slide, explain about the result of the research. The first one is the process and the result of developing narrative text material in writing skills using Canva application for 10th grade of Vocational High School. There are identify potential and problems. To find out the problems that exist in this study, it is necessary to analyze the needs of students first. So need analysis was carried out to find out the description of the condition in the field related to the teaching and learning process of English. The analysis was carried out in a class 10 at the schools by using observation. This observation was carried out when the author was undergoing field introduction practice or PPL activities at that school. The next is data collection. The writer collects data or information that can be used to assist planning in making teaching material related to the topic. The next is designing product. At this stage, making product design, preparation of material sources, and selected media. The first step is to determine what the material must be mastered by class 10 related to the objective of the research of the problems in the field. And the second step is the preparation of the slide product design by determining the advance that is by basic competencies and syllabus based on the curriculum 13. And the last step is to determine technology-based learning media so that they are easy and can use whatever and whenever. The Canva is an effective learning media used for the learning process. This slide uses an attractive and simple template. This product also can take advantage of existing features. Okay, the next is expert validation. Validation by two experts to know the product feasibility or not will be explained in research question number 2. And the next is revision product. To improve the quality of the products that have been made, The writer must improve the product design according to the notes or input from the two validators expert. The input from the validators is the first is to add an explanation link on the slide because slide script in Canva must dominate by a text. And the second is to optimize the audio visual filters and optimize activity so that students are active in the classroom. And the third is grammar needs to be checked and correct. The fourth is improve the layout, and the last one is to fix the font size. The next is small-scale trials. Small-scale trials was conducted in class 10 Multimedia 2 with 12 students. Data collection used a questionnaire, and data analysis used a Likert scale. The result from the questionnaire will be explained in the research question number 3. And the next is revision 2. Revision according to input from teachers and students involved in small-scale trials. The revision is to correct the content of the slide because there are many words that are typo. And the last is large-scale trials. Large-scale trials was conducted on 30 students from class 10 Multimedia 3. Okay, and the research question number 2. This validation include aspect of suitable of the material with the curriculum, clarity of learning objective, and resulting product that can help the student and teacher in a learning process. The resulting obtained from the first expert validator are 95%, and the result obtained from the second validators that are 97%. Where the two results fall into the very feasible category, because according to Jana and Julianto, if the obtained percentage is more than 81%, then the product is included in the very feasible category, so the product is suitable for use in a school. Okay, the next is the teacher and student response. See in the table the result of the questionnaire. 4 teachers get 85%, which means it is a very good category. In the small-scale trials, the result get 78%, and the large-scale trials, the result get 84%. According to Jana and Julianto, 2018, that 61 until 80% belong to the good category, and 81% to 100% belong to the very good category. Okay, the next is the obstacle. The one is when creating the product, the template has been created in the Canva application several times, disappears by itself. The second, the video can play the screen that appears is only dark. And the third, it is difficult to find sources using the R&D method. And the fourth, it is difficult to schedule research with the teacher. Okay, the last slide explain about the conclusion. First, in this research used 8 stages developed by Sugiono. The 8 stages are identifying potential and problems, data collection, product design, expert validation, product revision, small-scale trials, revision 2, and large-scale trials. And the second is product validation was carried out by both expert validators with the very valid value categories or very feasible categories. That the first validator give a value of 95%, and the second validators give a value of 97%, so that the slide product is feasible to be tested on students in the school. And the third is small-scale trials were conducted on 12 students of class 10 Multimedia 2, get 76%, and large-scale trials on 30 students of class 10 multimedia 3 get 84%, and the teacher respond obtain a scores of 85 with the good category. And the last is the obstacle experience by researcher during product design and the product development process can be resolved properly. Okay, I think that's all from my presentation. Thank you so much for your pay attention. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.